Part 11. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 101. Kick. Inside the dark mound, Sun stood unsteadily and almost fell to the ground. Hiss. In the dark, Gongsunli covered her forehead, a pair of big ears also drooped, she accidentally bumped into something, fortunately there was no light in it. This dilemma was not seen by the audience in the live broadcast room. Or there will be another wave of laughter. There was really no way, Gongsunli had to take out the waterproof beads, although there is no water here, but the water-avoiding beads will be bright. Suddenly, a faint light lit up, and the audience in the live broadcast room was able to see Gongsunli's little face clearly. It was also at this time that Gongsunli saw the internal structure of the mound clearly. It turned out that the place where she came in just now was a large pile of tall boxes, and all kinds of jewelry were scattered on the ground. In other places, there are dense gold bricks, many of which are countless, and there are at least a few thousand gold. Not even a place to stay. Oh my God! Is this a treasure trove? Rich, rich. I've never seen so much wealth in my life. These. It can't be fake, right? Mom, does this second home need these yellow and white things? It's all gold bricks. I'm afraid all the banks here don't have that much gold combined. I'm going. What is that land requisition order that flashed past me? I just saw a land requisition order thrown on the ground. What the hell is this place? In the live broadcast room, people were instantly excited. Money. Because it was far away just now, Jens's voice inside did not reach the live broadcast room at all. So now the audience in the live broadcast room doesn't know that this is a person's exclusive vault, but Sun knows. Natives, gold, jewelry. It's an interesting world. As soon as Sun's head turned, he knew in an instant that the local forces in this world were probably almost developing, but he hadn't encountered them yet. Damn. These things look like someone put them here, and you can be considered stealing them like this. You Xiaoguo can't do this, it will destroy other people's impression of the Blue Star people. Oh my God, there's a thief here. The foreign audience in the live broadcast room saw Gongsunli picking up the land requisition order thrown on the ground with a happy face, and their eyes were about to burst into flames. Why did they get the land requisition order that they almost exchanged for their lives? It's stealing. It's immoral. Countless foreigners roared in the live broadcast room, but no one paid attention to them at all, and they were all stunned by the wealth in front of them. And Gongsunli was not in a hurry at this time, and the opinions of those people in Langxing could not affect her at all. Instead, she picked up jewelry in those boxes. One will come out with a necklace, and the next will come out with a ring. I had a lot of fun, and the little girl's interest in jewelry was vividly displayed. This made the audience in Xia Kingdom tremble for a while. Why the fear? Well, as long as you're not stupid, know that this is definitely someone else's collection. It seems that the second home is not what we imagined, and the creatures there may have evolved very well. It's just that we're moving towards the world of technology, and the second home seems to be taking the transcendent route. In the official live broadcast room, Han Li slowly said the conclusion he had reached. Giggles. At this moment, Gongsunli's laughter came out of the live broadcast room again. I saw that the two rabbit ears on her head, which were originally only wearing a head rope each, now had two more golden chains. And there are two rabbit-shaped tags on the chain, which looks very delicate. Gongsunli's expression was obviously also satisfied. Yes, dwarven gens. After rummaging in the mound for a long time, Gongsun muttered from his mouth, and then set his eyes on the gold bricks. Ali is here to thank you for your dedication. Then, as soon as she stretched out her hand, the gold bricks seemed to be attracted, and flew into her ring. When the gold bricks were finished, she looked at the chests full of treasures and continued to collect them. In less than a minute, there were only a few unlit lampstands left inside the entire mound. Even the things that fell on the ground also entered her ring. Gongsunli didn't even look at it and put it all away. She was not stupid, it was not appropriate to stay here for a long time. Whew. It's a lot neater and looks much more pleasing to the eye. Gongsunli patted his chest as if he had just finished cleaning. Ha ha ha. This guy, emptying other people's collections is the same as making a great contribution to himself. If the owner of this treasure trove is a serious businessman, I don't believe it can have so much gold. Ha ha ha, good fellow, I've finally found a reason for you, sell the stolen goods. Learned, learned, learned. It's better to be in our hands than in the hands of other countries' vanguards, believe it or not. If we don't take that soldier, we will come over immediately. Yes, yes, let's take it all. Check it out. I guess the beautiful country should have notified the GIs. They don't even have a mouthful of soup to drink. Xiaoguo and Gongsun were starting to get excited from here, but Gensi, who had just left here, faintly felt a little uneasy in his heart. It seems that this barren hill really can't stay, but fortunately, there is only the last batch of goods left today. Jens, who had returned to the dwarven world, touched his chest and muttered. He vaguely felt that something was wrong, but when he remembered that he had just returned from the vault and where it was, he was relieved. No matter, hurry up and finish processing this shipment, and I'll leave. With that, Roots plunged headlong into his own business. Unbeknownst to everyone, his vault was empty. In the mound, Gongsunli looked around again, and found that there was nothing missing, so he went out in a flash. However, she didn't notice that just above the mound, there was an extremely hidden place stuffed with a white ball. As soon as she went out, the white ball flashed and disappeared into the darkness again. When Gongsun left the house, he took out a necklace and hung it around Yu Yu's neck. And then there was no hurry, there was a vault here, and it was clear that there should be an indigenous gathering place nearby. Moreover, she had just received so many jewels, and she hadn't counted them carefully, so she couldn't tell if there were any other rare things hidden in them. As for the land requisition order in the soldier's hand, she is a little disdainful now. I have it now, and if I can really find a gathering place for the indigenous people in this vicinity, then the resources there must be more abundant. Thinking of this, Gongsunli directly found a quieter place and began to sort out the things he had just gotten. And at this time, hundreds of miles away from here, the GIs finally hit the palace. It looks like it's one step away from being captured. William, give me the land requisition order. The GI roared at William. Now only the fierce beasts in this hall are left, for the GI and Lucia's hung, who have long been exhausted. It's starting to be a bit difficult to deal with them. Gongsunli, can't you catch up? A twinkle flashed in William's eyes. He didn't know that Gongsun was on his way to stay now. William, what are you doing in a daze? The soldier roared again, and William snorted imperceptibly and threw out the land requisition order in his hand. Ha ha! My GI and my beautiful country are about to enter a new era. Lucia's hung stood beside him, looking at the land requisition in the hands of the soldiers with envy. William's expression showed no joy or anger. When I occupy the land and upgrade, I will go and hunt down the vanguard of the Xia kingdom. The soldier turned his head to William and Yanagi and said. Hearing the words of the soldier who was going to hunt down Gongsunli, a glimmer of danger flashed in William's eyes. No one noticed that an extremely violent sword intent had already gathered in his palm. At this time, the soldier was looking at the altar in front of him with a happy face, and slowly raised the land requisition order in his hand. He didn't notice William getting closer and closer. Smack! With a soft sound, the land requisition order was put in place. National Games Online Game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 102. Buzz. Suddenly, The altar shone brightly, and the soldiers who illuminated it could not open their eyes. But this did not stop the good mood of the GIs in the slightest. Ha 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 ha! My beautiful country finally has its own fiefdom. The soldier shouted excitedly, and the live broadcast room of the beautiful country was also a happy and peaceful atmosphere at the moment. Great, I knew that Gongsun couldn't leave. Ha 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 ha! This time it's a step late, let Gongsunli see our speed. What about the reward? Hurry up! This time we will directly overtake. Wow roar! My beautiful country rises. We will stand on the top of the blue star again. Right now. Our lifespan will increase too. Our country will no longer be short of resources, ha ha ha. Come on. I can't wait. The whole beautiful country is now boiling, and the eyes of the whole world are also focused on the beautiful country. The beautiful country has finally caught up. The lords of many small countries sighed and became depressed in their hearts. Beautiful countries have always been domineering, and they were finally suppressed this time. But now it seems that there will be more and more lawlessness in the future. The audience of Xiaguo is also unhappy. Of course, they are not afraid of being overtaken by the beautiful country, just this territory. Even if the sky is broken, it will not be surpassed. And the place looks poor. The main reason is that the two sides have been fighting for so long, and when they see each other happy, they are unhappy, and it is true that they will be much disadvantageous to themselves in the future. But there is nothing to be done, so I can only watch passively. Ha ha ha! Reward. Give it to me. I want to improve. The GI was also full of surprise at this time, and his arms were opened, as if on a pilgrimage in the light of the altar. Ding! It was as if the people's pleas were heard, and the world announcement sounded. Congratulations to the pioneer of the beautiful country. Suddenly, the world announcement stopped halfway through. What's going on? Half of the ringing is gone. In the live broadcast room of the beautiful country, the joy is still fixed on everyone's face. What's going on? No. I don't know, what's wrong? At this time, the whole world was silent, and in the picture in the live broadcast room, the GI still stood in place as he was, but it felt a little weird. What the hell is wrong? I'll go. It's torturous. Slowly, some people began to get impatient, but suddenly, the world announcement sounded again, only this time, it was completely different from before. The content of this world announcement made everyone in the world tremble unconsciously. Congratulations to William, the pioneer of the Eagle Sauce country, for defeating the pioneer of the beautiful country and obtaining the fiefdom of the wasteland. Congratulations, congratulations to the Eagle Sauce country for obtaining the first fief, William as the temporary lord of the barren hills. 50 large minerals in the Eagle Sauce country will be awarded. The life expectancy of the whole nation is +1. Eagle Sauce country birth dragon vein. Death to the vanguard of the beautiful country. The national strength of a beautiful country has regressed by 1/2. A series of world announcements that surprised everyone directly blew up the world. As soon as the picture in the live broadcast room turned, everyone gasped in an instant. I saw that the current GI was still with his arms open, but in his chest, a hand penetrated him. And that hand, now drenched in blood, looked incomparably terrifying. The owner of that hand was none other than William. William was standing behind the GI at the moment, with a perverted smile on his face. William, you. The soldier turned his head stiffly. He couldn't believe that it was William who had protected him all the way, who had killed him. Moreover, William turned out to be not an ordinary person who was powerless, and he could be killed with one hand. It's true that you occupy the fiefdom, but if you want to do something to her, then you can't keep it. William's voice was a little hoarse, but calm. She. The GI frowned in confusion. He felt that his life force was draining, but he wanted to figure out why William had killed him. However, he did not know who William was until he died. You can go in peace. Zheng. Suddenly, a metal sound sounded, and William's hand that pierced through the GI suddenly exploded, tearing apart the GI's body in an instant. Blood suddenly flew from the scene, and hot blood splashed on the faces of William and Yanagi Shida, and both of them couldn't help but shiver. William was excited because of the first killing. Yanagi was born out of fear, and he now knew that he couldn't escape. Humph! William snorted coldly, a bloodthirsty smile on the corner of his mouth, and turned to look at Lu Shihasheng. Embellishment with blood on his face, William's expression looked a little evil. You. Looking at the cold glow that kept appearing in William's palm, Lu Shihasheng raised the knife in his hand with difficulty. At this point, the audience around the world is already stupid. William. He actually killed the GI. Oh my God. William was the strongest of the three, and he kept pretending. Why, exactly, who is he talking about? Pretty country, it's over. What should the Eagle Sauce Nation do with itself this time? Their vanguard has broken the contract. William, Eagle Sauce Country, you must not die well. How dare you stab us in the back? Damn. What should we do in our beautiful country? Will we just quit the world of our second home? In the current beautiful country, no one can stay calm, and everyone is scolding Eagle Sauce fiercely. But so what? The strength of their country is regressing at a rate that is visible to the naked eye. This is the first country to be eliminated after the second home upgrade, which will mean that over time, they will become the bottom of the world. In the beautiful country, I saw that the river, which was not very wide, was reduced by half in an instant, and the originally smooth asphalt road turned into a potholed dirt road in an instant. Including various buildings, it instantly returns to the state of the last century. However, what they are most afraid of is not these, the most terrifying thing is their military, and all kinds of high-tech weapons seem to have evaporated in an instant. All that remains is the tattered and long obsolete things. This time, the national strength has been reduced by 1/2, but it is all round. From state fortifications to flowers and plants, all degraded. In less than 3 minutes, the beautiful country returned to the appearance of the last century. This scene left everyone in the world jaw-dropping. This beautiful country, it's like this, can they still survive? Will it still survive? Such words come out of the mouths of many people, indeed, because the development of the beautiful country before was to make war profits by plundering others. But in the current situation, it is impossible for him to beat others. Maybe there are some small countries that he can fight, but the sad thing is that it is impossible for them to fight across the sea now. They have lost that strength. And the Eagle Sauce Country, which was originally anxious, saw the current state of the beautiful country, and the original worry disappeared in an instant. The distance between them and the beautiful country is already far away, and now looking at it like this, even if the beautiful country wants to trouble them, it is estimated that it is impossible. But Eagle Sauce still felt nerve-wracking. After all, they stabbed the knife first. If you want to ally with other countries in the future, I'm afraid everyone will guard against them. However, their current national strength has also rushed directly to the forefront of the world all of a sudden, which is the only thing that makes them feel gratified. But then again, the biggest concern right now is the cherry blossom country. Because of Lu Xiaozhong, he is obviously in a desperate situation now, and he has the experience of a beautiful country. Civil strife has begun in the country of cherry blossoms. They do not dare to think about the result of the degradation of their national strength, and they must be swallowed by the sea in minutes. Wei. William Kun, you have broken the contract between us. Yanagi was holding the sword, trembling with nervousness. He knew that he was not William's opponent. Yanagi Shida, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Again, you see, I need people. William looked at Yanagi Shida, his tone was a little inexplicable, but Yanagi saw the hope of life. What do you want me to do? Lu Shidasheng's eyes widened, and his voice was a little eager. Don't worry, I see that you are still more honest these days, hand over your Tadeo, and then do things for me and spare your life, how about it? William looked at Lu Xiaozhong condescendingly, without a trace of emotion in his eyes. Dang Chang. The knife fell to the ground, and Lu Xiaozhong collapsed on the ground. As long as he could save his life, he could do anything. Seeing this, William stepped forward to pick up the sword, and said to Yanagi Shida. Remember, my partner, I have only one request for you, don't let me find out that you have any thoughts about Gongsunli. Don't have any thoughts about Gongsunli. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 103. Don't have any thoughts about Gongsunli. This sentence is like a hammer smashed on Lu Shidasheng's heart. Let his brain buzz. It turns out that it's because the soldier said that he will deal with Gongsunli after his strength improves. Lu Xiaozhong remembered what the soldier had said before at this time, and suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He was extremely glad that he didn't go up to pat Gongsunli when the soldiers said countless times that they would kill Gongsunli. Otherwise, looking at William's current state, I'm afraid he doesn't care about his life at all. And in the real world, the entire Blue Star people were also frightened by William's words. Gongsunli. The culprit turned out to be Gongsunli. When did William come into contact with Gongsunli? Wasn't it the last time we met in Suanwei Forest, and then William was robbed of a land requisition order? If you want to say this, I'm going to be excited. This guy won't be plotting against Gongsunli, right? Lick the dog, William. Look at William's face right now. Damn. You have a point in saying this, Gongsunli's charm can't even be resisted by me. What about this Nima, is this Nima funny? Our Gongsunli needs you a foreigner to protect you in the back. I see. It turns out that the cause of the GI's death is here, this. It's better than a TV series. See? This is true feelings, for the sake of women, I don't hesitate to dissolve my alliance, I really laugh to death. Shocked, Gongsunli is busy making a fortune, and William is helping her eliminate her opponent. Laugh to death, this drama, the movie didn't dare to shoot like this. The whole Blue Star suddenly talked about it, and William's anti-water incident caused the whole world to pay attention. Now adding a little bit of gossip makes it even more incredible. When the beautiful Chinese people saw this, their hearts were like eating flies. They never imagined that they would end up ruined at the hands of a woman, and you said that if you defeated it head-on, forget it. What is this situation now? It's a ridiculous thing to do. Xiaoguo's audience didn't feel very good either, seeing that Gongsun had been away for so long, and suddenly someone told you that someone was eyeing her, can you bear it? Let's not talk about those young people who call their wives every day, let's just say that dad and mom don't want to be fans. Even if I know that this William is licking a dog is wishful thinking, I feel uncomfortable. If you panic, you just see that Gongsun is left to ignore him. Xiaoguo couldn't cry or laugh. And the Eagle Sauce country seems to have suddenly discovered a new target, and the Lord of the Eagle Sauce country began to consider whether to cooperate with the Xia Kingdom. After all, now on the Blue Star, only the two countries have their own fiefdoms in the second homeland. As for other small countries, as soon as they heard the news, they directly warned the vanguard of their own country. Don't provoke Gongsunli. There's no way, I can't afford the consequences, a grandson is perverted enough, and there is a William. But the pioneers of these small countries smiled bitterly, even if they didn't inform them, they didn't dare to provoke Gongsunli. But no matter what the real world thinks, progress in my second home doesn't stop. William was given a fief, and likewise, he had a small amount of materials and a drawing. These were used by him for the construction of land acquisition, but he didn't even look at them, and directly threw them all in the main hall. These, all sorted out, calculate the time, it's time for Gongsun to leave, right? These materials should be enough for her for a while. William finished muttering to himself, then turned his head to look at the sky in the distance. The audience in the live broadcast room was speechless for a while. Isn't it funny, isn't it, this material is really not in the eyes of Gongsun now. Besides, people aren't coming in this direction now. But it's a pity that such a big thing happened today, and the 10 barrage opportunities of the Eagle Sauce country have long been used up, so William doesn't know about Gongsunli's current situation. I had to sit still and wait. Lu Xiaozheng, who has been following behind William, is even more puzzled in his heart. You say that you are so strong, why don't you go and do something, you are waiting for that woman here? But he didn't dare to say it. I could only stand there and watch William alone and sad. Looked at William's appearance, and the audience in the live broadcast room was speechless. How can I say it? AHH. Gongsunli, who was hundreds of miles away, suddenly sneezed. Even the gold chain on the rabbit's ears almost fell off. No, with my current physique, why do I still sneeze? Gongsunli rubbed his nose while looking at a green gem in his hand. She had been picking up the treasures she had taken out from the mound just now, and she had really gained something. As for the world announcement just now, she didn't care at all. However, she was surprised at first, but she quickly figured out that it was probably the 3 of them who were fighting among themselves. Then, Gongsunli began to study the jewelry on his hand with another look of interest. I didn't know that such a big thing was caused by her. Ha ha ha. Gongsunli is Gongsunli, look, William's eyes are about to fall off, and you are still studying gems here. Laugh at me. Ha ha ha. See, everyone. A vivid lesson, licking the dog, nothing. Ha ha ha. Don't say it, I hope the official won't tell Gongsunli about today's incident. Next time she sees William, see what the reaction is. Ha ha ha. You're so bad. I like it. I think it's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Now where Gongsun is located, is it a barren hill? In Xiaoguo's live broadcast room, when she saw Gongsunli's current state, she found that she didn't know anything about the things behind the change of ownership of the barren hill, and she instantly became happy. I saw that the green gem in Gongsunli's hand was shining brightly, and it looked very rare. Gongsunli's eyes were shining, and Yo-Yu also leaned his head over. Na Yo-Yo, it's your equipment again, and it's a complete equipment. Gongsunli had a hint of surprise on his face, and the gem light on his hand seemed to be a little better. Xin Quan, you can connect all your pet life force together, and you will share the life force. You can also link your own life force into it. That's right, Gongsunli's hand is another auxiliary equipment of the king, Xin Quan. Xin Quan, this is a big outfit, it is synthesized by the accessories of the stars, and now the wind spirit crest on Yo-Yo's head is still a small piece of equipment. But here, Gongsunli directly got the Xin Quan suit, and this skill is even more rebellious. Won't you die again? Gongsunli's eyes widened and he read the explanation again. Hurry up, Yo-Yo, put it on. Then I couldn't wait for Yo-Yu to put it on, and the golden wind spirit heraldic icon between Yo-Yo eyebrows instantly had an extra circle of green. It looks a little better again. This made Gongsunli even more in love. The function of Xin Quan in the game is to spread the damage evenly, and few people use it. But in this second home, the revised Xin Quan skill is really amazing. If I take a fierce beast with extremely high defense and a lot of blood as a pet, and let them share the damage they receive, won't I have to worry about my beast dying? Gongsunli blinked wide-eyed, fantasizing that he would collect more and more fierce beasts in the future, and then 2 fierce beasts with super high blood volume would act as mobile blood transfusion stations in the back. As long as the attack power does not empty the beast's HP at one time, it will not die. Then follow behind and take a casual stroll and pick up the loot. How cool it is. There's one more target, looking for a beast with a high amount of blood. Gongsunli stretched out his fingers and planned, his little face full of longing. No. I seem to have already made one. Suddenly, Gongsunli remembered the dragon egg. In terms of HP, is there a beast with more HP than the dragons? Isn't this a natural mobile blood toner? It's just that the dragon egg is now placed by her in the Suanwei temple. When I'm done with all these things, I'll put it in the fountain of life. Thinking of this, Gongsunli was suddenly full of energy. Yo, let's go to this dwarven world now. As he spoke, he inexplicably poked the ground with a flower umbrella. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 104. At this point, night is about to fall. And beneath the ground of this barren hill seems to have just become lively. Gongsunli felt the active breath of life in it. There is no doubt that this underground is the real dwarven world. All she had to do now was find the entrance to the dwarven world. And hundreds of miles away, William's expression was also a little lonely, and he never waited for the person he was waiting for. But fortunately, I didn't have to worry about eating at night. Roast a ferocious beast, we'll stay here for a few days. William said to Lu Xiaozheng, and Lu Xiaozheng said yes and went away. It seems that he was born to work hard, but he served the GIs before, and now he serves William. What a desolate fiefdom. William looked at the Lois that could not be seen at a glance, and felt a little bitter in his heart. This barren hill really lives up to its name, except for Lois and fierce beasts, there is nothing. He had no idea that the level of prosperity under this barren hill was even greater than that of some countries on the Blue Star. Because dwarves live underground all year round, their schedules are different, and the evening outside is when they are active. Gongsunli took Yo-Yo and followed the scent left by Jens all the way forward, and soon found that something was wrong. It was still an inconspicuous small mound, but Sun could feel that it was empty inside, and it was obvious that this was the passage into the underground world, but he couldn't find the entrance. Humph. Sun looked at the mound in front of him and took out a dark gold sign from his body. This brand was found in the vault, and the pattern engraved on it was even more complicated than the pattern on the land requisition order, and in the middle of the token, there was a symbol engraved on it, but Sun didn't recognize it. But on this sign, there is still the breath of a dwarf. Obviously, this is supposed to be a token for the dwarves to prove their identity. From this token alone, you can see that the craftsmanship of the dwarf race is absolutely superior, because this brand is so exquisite. If it is only by hand, even the current Blue Star, no one has this craft. But these Sun didn't care, she only cared about how to get in. Smack. Without hesitation, Sun directly pasted the token on the mound. Buzz. In an instant, the shape of the mound changed, and the originally uneven mound was now surrounded by ripples, like ripples. Let's go. Gongsunli put away the sign, a smile on the corner of his mouth, and took Yo-Yo directly through the mound. This magical scene stunned the audience in the live broadcast room. As soon as he entered the mound, what caught Sun's eyes was a long staircase, but this staircase was downward. And there is no darkness in it, there are glowing beads on both sides, which seem to be dwarven street lamps and the like. Sun walked directly down the stairs with Yo-Yo. At this time, Jens, who was deep in the underground world, returned to his small courtyard with his tired steps. When this yard is sold, I can leave here and fly away. There was a bit of excitement on Jens's face, he had been abducted here for so long, and he was about to run away. Let's see if my little ones are okay. Back in the room, Jens jumped up, sat down in a chair, and then supported his big round face with both hands, and the mustache on his face made the whole person look a little greasy. On the table, there was a milky white bead, exactly the same as the one on the top of his vault. This bead, called a photo bead, is similar to the surveillance in this world, but this photo bead is extremely expensive, and there is no market, it is very rare. But after so many years of traveling from south to north, Jens can still make a whole set. Little darlings, haha. Wait for me. I'll be right here. Jens rubbed his hands together with a look of impatience, and then made a mudra. The milky white beads instantly glowed faintly. What's? The next moment, Jens's cry was heard. My vault. No, there must be something wrong with this photo bead. I saw that Jens looked frightened, and played back and forth with the photo beads, and he just saw that there was nothing in his originally full vault. That's the savings of most of his life, how can he not panic? Besides, the mound wasn't that close to here, and the dwarves didn't go out, so it was absolutely impossible for anyone to find out. Impossible. Jens tried to seal several more times, but the result was still the same. I couldn't calm down right away. Yes, take a photo. I'll take a photo. Suddenly, as if he had thought of something, Jens made another handprint against the photo bead. I saw that the picture in the photo bead actually began to move. In the photo, Jens was still dancing wildly, and then, he opened the door and left. Calm suddenly returned to the vault. Jens stared at the shadow bead tightly, knowing that there was a high probability that something had gone wrong with his vault after he left. Finally, a pair of rabbit ears came into Root's sight. Gongsunli's figure suddenly appeared in the image of the photo bead. Good. What a beautiful fierce. Not true. Is she a beast or a demon? She's definitely a demon, a rabbit. Jens saw that what Gongsunli did in the vault was not the wisdom of the beast at all, so he directly concluded that she was a demon clan. Rabbit. You dare to touch my dwarven treasure. She still has a ring. It's still such a big space. Jens stared at the figure in the photo, his eyes reddened, and a hint of lust flashed at the same time. Then, he saw Gongsunli hanging 2 gold chains on his rabbit ears, and the figure disappeared in an instant, and the golden cave returned to calm again, only this time, there was nothing. Here's someone. Immediately Jens shouted, and immediately his yard became lively. Na ring, rabbit, none of them can run. Jens had a hideous face, he was sitting in the dwarven clan for improper activities, and if he hadn't had some powerful guards under his hands, he would have died many times. Now, it finally comes in handy, not to mention whether Gongsunli is beautiful or not, just say that the ring is enough for him to blush, and he has never gotten a ring of his own in his life. That thing is only qualified for the upper class, even if he has money, he still can't get it if he has no power. And now, the rabbit that he was thinking about has entered the dwarf world. What is strange is that in this dwarf world, there are no walls at all, there is no protection, and walking down the stairs directly is a market, which is very lively. Probably because the dwarves were confident in their gates hidden in the mounds. It's just that the originally noisy market has become extremely quiet at this time. The people who walked in the market and the stalls on the street all stared blankly at Gongsunli, who suddenly appeared in front of them. It's been a long time since outsiders have been here, and it's still so beautiful, so they were surprised. Because of their height, these dwarves need to look up. Sun was also confused, she had never seen so many dwarfs. The height of these people is estimated to be up to her thighs. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 105. Good. What a beautiful bunny. Is she a demon? Why did you come to our dwarven tribe? Look at her ears, it's so cute. She has long legs, which is what makes rabbits different from us dwarves. Is this the demon clan? The first time I saw it, why is it different from what I heard? Doesn't it mean that the demon clan are all murderous people? She looks very gentle, and the rabbit is a grazing animal. The dwarves in the bazaar looked at Gongsunli and began to discuss. Especially those long legs, which are really eye-catching. However, none of them dared to come forward, because most of the dwarves here had never dealt with outside creatures, and they were still a little scared in their hearts. Gongsunli looked at the lively bazaar and felt very surprised. She never expected that there would be such a world under this ground. Hey, they're all native. We're the first pioneers to enter the indigenous world. You see, in their market, everything has to be sold, it's quite prosperous. It's not right, Gongsunli has just got a lot of wealth, and he wants to buy something useful for himself here. It's ridiculous, can't Gongsunli see that the ears he is wearing are a headband? In the Xiaguo live broadcast room, the audience also felt very novel, and it felt like opening the door to a new world. And at this time, finally a dwarf couldn't help but stand up. It was a dwarf with white hair and beard, wrinkled face, and panting, as if he had just undergone a strenuous workout. This. Hello miss, I'm Jeff, the head of the fair, where are you from, or do you need any help? Jeff walked in front of Gongsunli with a smile, and the smile on his face looked kinder. However, his size was less than Yo-Yo's neck, and as soon as he came out, the market was quiet, and it was obvious that he was still more prestigious here. As soon as Gongsunli appeared here, the news that a demon girl had come to the dwarf world was spread. Jeff also rushed over after hearing the news. He had lived for hundreds of years, and was considered an old man even by the lifespan of a dwarf, and had been in charge of the market. So what he said here still has some effect. Miss, why don't you come with me first? Let's find a quiet place to talk. Jeff saw that there were more and more people around him, so he had to say to Gongsunli. Okay. Gongsunli thought about it for a while and agreed directly. So, Jeff took Gongsunli directly through the bazaar and walked towards a nearby courtyard. This courtyard is Jeff's residence, and at the same time, it is also the place where he works his daily work. Alright, let's all disperse. When Gongsunli walked into the courtyard, Jeff shouted at the crowd outside, and then locked the door with his hand. Then he turned his head to look at Gongsunli. Suck. At this time, Gongsunli's mouth was bulging, and it was stuffed with a candy that she had just taken in the market. The whole person looked harmless to humans and animals, but Jeff's expression was a little solemn. Miss, how did you get into my dwarven world? Jeff's tone was a little cold, and his eyes were staring at Gongsunli, as if he was about to make a move if he didn't agree with him. Na. As soon as Sun stretched out his hand, the dark golden token appeared in his hand. Jeff's eyes narrowed, and he reached out to take the token. Tokens are very common, they are basically the passes that every big family has, and they are very common in the dwarven world. Moreover, there have been cases in the past where other races have taken this token to the dwarven world. So after Jeff saw it, he was not so vigilant. Because the dwarves are very united, this token is generally not easily given to outsiders, unless outsiders have helped the dwarves with them. Usually such dwarves will treat each other as their good companions. So Jeff's attitude towards Gongsunli also improved. Since there is a pass, it is a friend of my dwarf clan, but, I don't know if the young lady needs help from my dwarf clan. The dwarven clan's crafting and smelting technology is very powerful, and it also includes some mechanisms or something, so in the outside world, the weapons built by the dwarves can be sold for a very high price. And it is not necessarily possible to buy the real one. Generally this kind of foreign race that enters the dwarf world almost always has a demand. Jeff apparently thinks of Gongsunli as that kind of person. However, where did Gongsun know this? She came in this time, just to see the rarity, and by the way, to see if there was anything that would help her. But after walking around the bazaar just now, she had lost much hope. However, it was at this moment that something unexpected happened to her. Jeff. An angry roar came from outside. It was Jens who had come with someone. He never expected that after the other party emptied his vault, he would dare to come to the dwarf world. Was about to send someone out to find Gongsunli, and he immediately led someone to kill him. Open the door. Did you bring the rabbit back just now? Give her to me. Hurry up and open the door, or I'll slam it. Jens didn't have a good reputation in this tribe, especially now that he still had a dozen fierce guards with him. The people around who were looking at the excitement couldn't help but take a few steps back. In the courtyard, Jeff glanced at Gongsunli suspiciously, and of course he could hear who was outside. But he didn't know why the little girl in front of him would provoke such a bully. And Gongsunli also snorted stupidly. She had already smelled that the person outside was the owner of the vault. Seeing this, Jeff walked directly to the door. Squeak. With a soft thud, the door opened. What are you doing here? She's a guest of our dwarves. As soon as Jeff opened the door, he shouted angrily at Roots, and Roots's reputation was already stinking. It's just that now he has no one to cure him, which makes him so rampant. However, others are afraid of Jens, but Jeff is not. Guest. Jens was stunned for a moment, and then scolded. Jeff, get out of the way, it's this rabbit who broke my family. I'm going to take her away. Seeing Gongsunli standing in the courtyard, Jens immediately couldn't help but be angry. At the same time, a feeling of amazement rose in my heart. But now, he can't show it, or this Jeff will definitely not budge. As long as she follows back to her courtyard, she can't control it even if the King of Heaven comes. Jens, what's the matter? Jens, this bully, I think it's a little girl from the demon clan who looks good looking, and I'm thinking crookedly again. It's over, even if it's a demon clan, but if there is really any accident here, I'm afraid the demon clan won't be able to find it, right? This Jensi, it's really disgusting, it deceived a lot of us, and now it's really getting bolder and bolder, even the demon clan dares to start. Pity this little girl, just came to the dwarf world, and was targeted by such a bully. What else is this going on to be ruined by her? I think it's just an excuse. Listening to the discussions of the people around him, Jens's face turned pale, but he didn't dare to reveal the image in his photo beads. Otherwise, others will know that they have so much property, and no matter how shrewd they are, they will not be able to escape. At this time, his eyes suddenly darkened, and a pair of long legs entered his sight. I don't know when, Gongsunli actually walked to the door. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 106. You're a bully. The discussion of everyone outside the door naturally could not escape Gongsunli's ears. Gongsunli raised an eyebrow and looked at Jens and the dozen or so dwarfs standing behind him. Although these dwarfs look very strong, the muscles on their bodies are tall. But the guts seem to be as small as their height. I don't know why a chill rises in my heart. Looking at Gongsunli, Jens shuddered, and at that moment just now, he seemed to feel a breath of a king in Gongsunli. You must know that the king, that is an emperor-level leader, no matter how bad it is, he is also the lord of a fief. That kind of character, how can it be this little girl who seems to be untouched by the world? So Jens quickly suppressed the uneasiness in his heart. Even if you are a demon clan, I will never let you go this time. Looking at the gold chain hanging from Gongsunli's ear, Jens felt his heart dripping blood. For half a lifetime, I have been working hard for more than 100 years and have not been willing to wear gold and silver, and finally let someone serve a pot. How can this be endured? Guns roared. Take her down for me and take her back to the house. When more than a dozen guards heard the order, they immediately rushed in and surrounded Gongsunli. The legends of the demon clan exist in the dwarf world, and they are all masters who eat people without blinking. But the demon clan I met this time didn't seem to be as fierce as the legend, so these people also had the courage. Guns, you are presumptuous. At this time, Jeff stood up, although he still didn't know what grievances the two had between them, but since Gongsun had left, how could he have watched this little girl fall into the hands of gens? You old thing, fuck off. Laozi is leaving here today, you'd better not mess with me, otherwise, I'll make you look good. Jens's angry words reached Jeff's ears, and Jeff was instantly swelled up with the blood of Qi. He had been in charge of the bazaar for almost 100 years, and no one had ever dared to speak to him like that. And this Gensi is polite to him because he often needs the market to deal with some things on weekdays. But Jeff didn't expect this gens to be so faceless now. You. Jeff was immediately angry and couldn't say a word. In addition to being the manager of the bazaar, he is also the most experienced blacksmith here, so he is usually very respected. So at this time, a few dwarves ran up and supported Jeff. But he didn't dare to say anything, just glared at Roots angrily. At this time, Jens also knew that he might have gone too far, and he was not wasting time immediately. What are you still doing in a daze? Isn't it a shame? Give it to me. With Jens' order, these guards had no last worries, and rushed directly at Gongsunli. In their opinion, this Gongsunli, with thin arms and legs, doesn't take much effort at all. And they were all blacksmiths before they became Jens's guards, and it was not easy to take down such a little girl. And Gongsunli also seemed to be stupid at this time, standing still in place. Even some of the dwarves who were watching around couldn't bear to close their eyes. It's not the first time that Jens has made things difficult on the street like this, but this time it's just a different object. Jens even breathed a sigh of relief. In his opinion, this is a matter of hand-to-hand capture, and there will be a way to make the woman in front of her intercede. In the live broadcast room at this time, some people said that they couldn't bear to watch it, but the reasons were completely different. I just hope that Gongsun will be a little lighter, after all, he is still a child. Child, this dwarf is estimated to have a very long lifespan, unlike humans, you can't save that much wealth in a few decades, right? I just hope this old kid won't be too miserable for a while. It's over, this dwarf tribe doesn't seem to be enough for Gongsun to leave Huohuo. Count them unlucky, Gongsunli's temper is not easy to provoke. Since he is a bully, it would be good to be able to save his life, but I didn't expect to bully Gongsunli. It's been such a long time, and the audience in the live broadcast room is almost a little sure of Gongsunli's combat effectiveness. Although this is the first time I have seen the dwarves, I know from their posture that this race is not good at fighting. So the results speak for themselves. And the reality, indeed, is as they imagined. Just when the fists of the guards were about to fall on Gongsunli's body, Jen suddenly felt that his eyes were dark, and then, the whole person was weightless. AHH. There was a miserable scream, and I saw that Gongsunli had arrived in front of Jens at some point, and directly lifted him up with one hand. Jens was frightened, and his short legs kept kicking, looking at the beautiful and unspeakable face that was close at hand. Jens's face was full of horror. You. Until now, he has not figured out the situation. Put Master Jens down. At this moment, the guards who had jumped into the air reacted and shouted at Gongsunli. Humph. Gongsunli's eyes glanced behind him, a smile leaked from the corner of his mouth. Looking at Gongsunli's expression, Jens suddenly felt a bad feeling in his heart. Since you're a businessman, Count the seconds it will take me to deal with them. Gongsun left his arm, and Jens instantly flew towards the sky like a stone. AHH. Jens's terrified cry reached everyone's ears. The guards stared blankly at Jens, who was flying higher and higher, and stood still. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Suddenly, Gongsunli's voice sounded from behind them. Everyone was shocked, but it was too late. Come like thunder, like the river and the sea. Bang. A muffled sound came out, as if some mechanism had been opened, and for a while the muffled sound continued to sound. Bang. Bang. Suddenly, more than a dozen guards fell to the ground one after another, but it seemed that they couldn't die, and Gongsunli didn't kill him. The surrounding dwarves were dumbfounded. Ah! H. Just as the last guard fell to the ground, Hans screamed again in the sky, and at this moment Hans was falling rapidly like a meteor. Gongsun didn't even look at it, and directly reached out and grabbed the fallen Gensi. Woo! At this time, Jens's face was full of snot, his whole body was still trembling, and he no longer looked a little arrogant. Huh! Suddenly, Gongsunli frowned, and a foul smell rushed into her nose. Then look at the pants that are a little wet, Jens. She reached out and threw Jens out, and then her face was full of disgust. Ha ha ha. I've pretended to be forced, and I'm disgusting to myself. I can't laugh anymore, ha ha ha. Gongsunli probably has the urge to cut off his hand. Who knew the dwarf would be scared to pee? Ha. Should I say it or not, have you noticed it? Gongsunli is getting more and more sassy, I like it so much. Who's not to like? The live broadcast room suddenly became happy. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 107. And the onlookers around Jeff's house were shocked and stunned. They hadn't figured out what had just happened. Woo! Roots, who fell to the ground, let out a whimper of pain, apparently frightened. The flying experience just now should be the most exciting one in his life. Behind Gongsunli, the dozen or so guards brought by Jens also fell to the ground and wailed. This is really as fierce as the legendary demon clan. However, the legendary demon clan did not say that she was as good looking. She was like dancing just now, but all those people were knocked down, oh my god. Sure enough, the demon clan is the darling of this world, and we dwarf clans cannot be defeated. Who the hell is this rabbit? Why is it in our dwarf world? Should we hide or not? Demon clan, it's really powerful, we dwarves are too disadvantaged in fighting. The surrounding dwarves talked about Gongsunli's amazement, and they would think of the horror of the legendary demon clan in the clan, and they began to be afraid again. The existence of Gongsunli is beyond their cognition, beautiful, good-looking, demon clan, and can fight, such a person does not exist in the dwarf clan at all. This bully is doing bad things and I've been bumped into. Gongsunli stood in place, looking at the dwarves around her. She still felt that it was better to explain, but it was not necessary to say anything bad. I see that he seems to be doing a lot of evil, so let me leave him to you now. Gongsunli finished speaking lightly, and then turned his head to look at Jeff, as if he had something to say to Jeff. Jeff was stunned for a moment, and then said to the dwarves who were watching the excitement around him. Hurry up, this is a rare opportunity, hurry up and bring someone to tie them all up, and we can hope to recover the money we have been cheated of. I'm coming. I've been deceived by him, I'm going to kidnap him. I'm here too. Damn, it's finally time for this day. Add me. As soon as Jeff's words came out, several people immediately rushed up and subdued all of them. And Gongsun trembled, the money that was cheated by Jen seems to be here with her now. Miss, come with me. Suddenly, Jeff's voice reached Gongsunli's ears, and Gongsunli had no choice but to let go of his thoughts first, and then follow Jeff inside. I have to say that Jeff, an old boy, is now a lot more enthusiastic about Gongsunli. I don't know what Mrs. name is. Jeff walked in front and led the way, guessing Gongsunli's identity. Gongsunli. Gongsunli replied indifferently. I don't know why, he always feels a kind of aura of superiority in Gongsunli's body, which makes him very puzzled. And the deer that followed her was not simple at first glance. Could it be the princess of a certain force of the demon clan? Jeff frowned and thought, but the few people in the demon clan who are kings are all murderous guys, and this Gongsunli is obviously not that kind of person. Gongsunli followed Jeff all the way into the house. To say that this dwarf house is indeed a bit short, Gongsunli needs to keep his head down to enter. And Jeff's room was extremely messy, there was everything in it, but it immediately aroused Siun's curiosity. Because, she actually saw in the room the materials needed to make the fortifications, although there were very few, but it was enough to show that these things were also available to the natives. On the other table, a round mirror the size of a palm was sitting there, and Jeff looked at the small mirror, intentionally or unconsciously. This naturally also attracted Gongsunli's attention, because the mirror actually emitted a special energy fluctuation. Then Gongsunli directly and unceremoniously picked up the small mirror. Miss Gongsun! Jeff screamed on the spot, his tone full of fear. I saw that the mirror was in Gongsunli's hand, and the mirror suddenly emitted a white light on Gongsunli's body. Huh! Gongsunli looked at himself in the mirror and raised his eyes. At this time, the face in the mirror was a little different from her current body. Because of her skin, her eyes are brown now, and her face is snow white, just like a human being, and she is in the mirror. His eyes were red, and there was cinnabar in the corners of his eyes, which looked extremely charming, and Siun recognized it at a glance when he had no skin. Interesting. Fortunately, Siun just glanced at it and took it back, and the audience in the live broadcast room didn't have time to see it clearly. What kind of mirror is this? Gongsunli turned his head directly to look at Jeff. At this time, Jeff was already speechless in shock. You. I saw Jeff's face surprised, stretched out a finger and pointed at Gongsunli, unable to say a complete sentence. That mirror, but there is only one 5-element mirror between heaven and earth, is the magic weapon of all races in Tianqi. This mirror, all races will have some degree of discomfort after being illuminated. And for the demon clan, it is even more powerful. As long as the demon clan has not cultivated to the highest level, it only needs a white light from the mirror, which can restore it to its original form in an instant. And even if it is a demon clan with advanced cultivation, it is absolutely uncomfortable to be looked at in that mirror. So this mirror, which has been spurned by the demon clan since ancient times, wants to be in their own hands. After all, this is their own handle. But I never expected this mirror to appear in the dwarves. To Jeff's surprise, he was worried that the mirror would anger Gongsunli, but he didn't expect that the white light would shine on Gongsunli, and she didn't have anything to do. Don't even care at all. At this moment, a terrible name came to Jeff's mind. Demon. Kind. You're not a demon, you're a demon. The strongest race in the legend, and the former ruler of this continent. In an instant, Jeff's mind was filled with countless legends he hadn't believed in before. Only the demon seed can have no effect at all under the illumination of the 5 elements mirror. Jeff shuddered at the thought of the rumored deeds. The demon seed was too powerful in the legend for no one to resist. He couldn't believe that the legendary race would appear before his eyes. This demon seed is a natural king, and the legend says that there is an existence that has a head of 108,000 miles, and it also has the terrifying power to make the gods apologize. Every single thing that comes out is shocking enough. What's the matter with this old man? Gongsun is really, that rabbit headband is too deceptive, Originally I thought it was outrageous to be mistaken as a demon clan, but now it's good, it's directly another race. Haha, it sounds like it's been upgraded, it seems to be even more powerful than the demon clan. That's fine, it's just spying on intelligence, ha ha ha. In the live broadcast room, the audience who didn't know the truth began to ridicule again, not knowing what kind of expression they would have if they knew that Gongsunli's ears were real. What kind of mirror is this? Gongsunli repeated the question she had just asked, and at the same time, her eyes were a little vague. Jeff shuddered. Returning to the devil. This is the five-element mirror. Jeff looked at Gongsunli's eyes, as if he couldn't say something, and instantly understood in his heart. Then, under the guidance of Gongsunli, Jeff gave a good introduction to the dwarves and the things in his room. Crystal cannon. Gongsunli had a blueprint in his hand, which, according to Jeff, was the result of their dwarven clan. And also showed Gongsunli many other inventions of his own. The grandson who watched it was amazing. Relocate. Gongsunli flipped his hand, and a golden token appeared, engraved with the words Thousand Cave City. That's right, this is Gongsunli's thoughts, and when she heard the demon seed, she was naturally curious, but now, it's not a good time to ask. But anyway, she fell in love with these things of the dwarf race, so let's get them to Thousand Cave City first. In this way, it will not be a little angry in Thousand Cave City, let alone help yourself. And it seems that this Jeff seems to have a lot of respect for his demon seed's identity, so he naturally dug it up. It turned out to be the lord of the castle. Jeff was looking at the token with a stumbling look, he had forgotten what it was like to be surprised. How many magic crystals do you have here, as well as these materials? All of them have been sorted out for me, and I want to buy them, so that it will be convenient for you to move in the future. Gongsunli didn't ask Jeff's opinion at all, and directly took the board. And Jeff didn't refute, just said yes and turned around and ran out. The rest of Gongsun was left to sit in the room thoughtfully. Demon Seed, the status is quite high. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 108. Then she continued to look at the house. This house is obviously something similar to a laboratory, except for all kinds of things that Gongsunli, who is half assembled, can't understand. The most are books and drawings. Casually flipped through the drawings, Gongsunli found that there was nothing to make his eyes shine except for the magic crystal cannon. So I set my sights on the books. These books, except for some professional smelting techniques, the other Gongsunli is still quite interested, because it can allow her to understand this continent more quickly. So the room was calm for a while, and Gongsunli casually picked up a book and sat there quietly. Kick. Squeak. After a few hours, the door to the room was pushed open and Jeff's figure walked in. City. Lord Castle. All the surplus magic crystals of our tribe have been collected now and placed in the courtyard. Jeff said cautiously that the lord of a faction, even if he was the most prestigious person in this dwarven tribe, had to be respected. Because of the identity of the Lord of Power, he is the most noble at all times on this continent. What's more, she is also a legendary demon seed. Smack. Gongsunli closed the book in his hand, stood up and moved. Let's go out and have a look. With that, he took the lead and walked out. In the courtyard, there was a large pile of magic crystals at this time, and outside the courtyard, it was densely packed with people. They had already learned from Jeff that this was the lord of a city, so they didn't dare to go in. It's out, it's out. Tut tut. City lord. It's still a demon clan. It's incredible. I can't believe that such a big man as a power lord would come to our dwarven tribe. Nagans, it's really looking for death. Jen's almost brought us a catastrophe, and if this one gets angry, we're all doomed. Shh, don't speak, she's looking at us. I saw Gongsunli walk into the courtyard and casually scan the magic crystals on the ground and the crowd outside. There was no expression on his face, but his heart was happy. This magic crystal is indeed a lot, enough for her to use for a while, and the defense tower of this 1,000 cave city is not worried about running out of energy. Very nice. Gongsunli nodded, and with a wave of his hand, the magic crystal disappeared in an instant, and in the courtyard, there was a hill made of gold bars. She didn't know the value of the magic crystal, but these gold bars, which she picked up anyway, didn't feel distressed. What's more, it's only part of the story. That's what I paid for the magic crystal. You go and distribute it. In addition, this money is also compensation for your relocation. You can make preparations and move to 1,000 Cave City immediately. Gongsunli said categorically. She read the introduction of the dwarf race just now, and this race can definitely be called magical. This strengthened her plan to move the dwarves. Dwarves are like scientists and engineers now, and they are born, and that's how talented they are. If 1,000 Cave City has them joining, it will definitely be able to get on the right track soon in the future. Jeff stood there and shuddered at Gongsunli's words. He looked at the amount of gold in front of him, and he didn't react yet. Gold, this is the dwarf's favorite thing. Because it's not just currency, it's often used by the dwarves when crafting and smelting it. Hurry, hey, who is it? Come here, distribute the gold according to the number of magic crystals just handed in, and confiscate the rest directly. These are our future research funds. Jeff immediately yelled at the crowd outside the door. The scene was instantly lively. Hurry up, move your things, don't delay the matter of the city lord. The lord of the city is mighty. Thank you, Lord Castle. Ha ha ha. With this gold, I can study my own academics at home every day, and I don't have to worry about running out of food anymore. Relocation. The city lord is so generous, then if he goes to 1,000 Cave City, his life will definitely be better than ours. Ha ha ha. I didn't want to relocate, but now, I just want to hurry. Outside the door, the cheers of countless dwarves made Gongsunli have a trace of suspicion. Am I giving too much of this gold? Gongsun was stunned for a moment, and then looked at the more gold left in the ring, and he also had an idea of the purchasing power of gold in this world. But the audience in the live broadcast room was distressed. You're a loser. That's a lot of gold. How much does it cost? It's all for the dwarves. My heart hurts, even if it's not my money. Hey, don't be fooled, in my opinion, it's worth the money. Yes, yes, it's worth the money. Think about it, this gold, by race, not the gold in front of you. Yes, think about it, even if you don't use this gold, it's still a dead thing if you put it there, but this time it's equivalent to buying a race directly. What kind of concept? These races will help Gongsunli build his own fiefdom. It's worth the money. By natives, who else can do that? That's right, but I'm still distressed. It's distressing. You won't feel distressed when you see the future development of 1,000 Cave City. Some of Xiaoguo's audience couldn't understand this step, but some of them were shining in their eyes. When the world passage opens, won't we have to live with the dwarves? I don't know if they'll live with the dwarves, but I just want to see what they can do with the 1,000 caves. Technology, this is about to enter the era of technology. Countless people are watching the dwarves busy, but the Eagle Sauce country is anxious, because this barren hill is their fief, and this dwarf tribe is the people in their fiefdom. Why was he directly poached by Gongsunli at this time? We don't have a fief yet, so you say that the game of occupying the fief is backward? Started abducting the natives? All the countries on the Blue Star were confused by Gongsunli's hand. Gongsunli, on the other hand, was now back in the house, with Jeff behind him, and he had already told others to do the gold. He felt that it was a big deal for him to serve Gongsunli first. "You can do everything on this drawing?" Sun asked, pointing to the drawings that filled the room. "Some of them are okay, but it takes a lot of time and materials, so it's not worth it." When Jeff heard Gongsunli's words, of course he knew what she meant, and immediately explained. After a while, Gongsunli's face finally leaked an expression of sudden realization. "You mean to say that the magic crystal mines are scarce now, and the magic crystals are extremely precious?" "Yes, City Lord, there has been no news of the magic crystal mine in the last 100 years, and almost everything in our inventions requires magic crystals to function. Including the blueprint of that magic crystal cannon, even if it is invented, we can't afford it." Hearing Jeff's words, Sun was silent. The magic crystal cannon, according to the explanation that Jeff just gave her, a magic crystal is only enough to be used 5 times at most. Her dream of directly using technology to push her second home is obviously unrealistic. "The magic crystals in the courtyard just now were all purchased by us in Bayun City decades ago, and there are still these left after using them for decades, and the price of the magic crystals is too expensive, and we are usually reluctant to use them." White Cloud City. Gongsunli raised her eyebrows. She seemed to have heard a terrible message. Then her heart struck again. "Let me ask you, have you ever heard of Chang'an? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 109. Have you ever heard of Chang'an? This sentence not only made Jeff stunned in place, but the audience in the live broadcast room was also stunned. "Chang'an, what is Gongsunli talking about? Isn't Chang'an a historical ancient city in our country? Ha ha ha. What's the matter? How can there be Chang'an in the second home? Gongsunli can't be teasing this dwarf, right? Chang'an is a city in the real world. Ha ha ha, I live in Chang'an. I didn't expect Gongsunli to mention my city, but I don't know what it means." In the live broadcast room, Xiaoguo's audience was a little confused, and only thought that Gongsunli was playing tricks on Jeff. It's just that in the official live broadcast room, Huang Qi and Hu Bing fell into deep thought. Chang'an. Is there anything quirky about this city? They have already seen the mystery of Gongsunli, and as a high-level talent, they naturally don't think that Gongsunli said it casually. Chang'an, the 1,000-year-old capital, but Gongsunli has never been to the city in our investigation. Is she really just joking? Looking at Gongsunli in the picture, several people fell into deep thought. Seeing Gongsunli's expression, they thought it was not that simple, but they couldn't guess it. SHHH. Second home, Jeff's eyebrows furrowed, and he stretched out an arm and kept tapping his head. "City Lord, wait a minute, I'll think about it, it's been too long, I can't remember it clearly." As he spoke, Jeff began to pace around the room, his face full of confusion, as if he really had an impression of Chang'an in his mind. And when Gongsunli saw this scene, his eyes immediately lit up. Jeff hasn't said anything yet, but that's enough to tell the story. So at this time, she also looked at Jeff with a little expectation. She is now 50% sure that this world definitely has something to do with the King continent. This is enough to make her feel incredible. Maybe there will be other legends of heroes on this continent. And the live broadcast room was also quiet at this time. What's the situation? This second home won't really have a Chang'an, right? But how did Gongsunli know? Lord Xia looked at the live broadcast room, his face full of shock. "City Lord. I remember." Jeff suddenly screamed, and then ran to the bookshelf and took out a piece of paper that seemed to have been sitting there for a long time. When I opened it, it turned out to be a map. The area shown on this map is very large, and Sun saw at a glance that there is a place on it that says Baiun City, the place where Jeff mentioned just now to purchase magic crystals. It's just that Jeff looked at the map and frowned. Alas! This map is still not enough, there is no location of Chang'an on it. Jeff said disappointedly, then looked up at Sun. City Lord, Chang'an City. I've heard of it, but the city is not with us at all. As he spoke, Jeff pointed to the map. City Lord, look, we are now in the bottom corner of this map, the Chang'an City. I only read it in a book when I was a child, and it has been almost 200 years since now. I remember that the book said that Chang'an City was the center of the continent, and it was said that it no longer exists, as if it had been replaced by other cities. But I can't verify any of this, because even our long-lived dwarves may not be able to make it to the center of this continent in this lifetime. Jeff's voice grew quieter and quieter, and the map made him feel small again. And Sun also felt incredible at this time, even if Chang'an City really existed, but the area of this continent was really beyond her cognition. She had been here for so long, and it could be said that the scope of this place was much larger than she expected, but she didn't expect that her location was no more than 1/10 of the entire continent. Even this map was the most detailed she had ever seen, but this map only marked a corner of the entire continent. How could this not be surprising, but the only thing that was relieved was that she did not gain anything at all. King equipment, demon seeds, Suanwei Forest, Thousand Cave City, and now Chang'an City. Gongsunli looked at the part of the map that was not shown, and the corners of his mouth hooked. If I hadn't heard of it, but since it exists, then I'll have to find out. As she spoke, she set her eyes on the 3 words Baiun City. Tell me about this White Cloud City. All right, Lord Castle. Jeff agreed, and then said. This Baiun City is the largest city within a radius of 100,000 miles, and it is also the most powerful force. They have thousands of soldiers, and the combat power of these soldiers is at least the 3rd order. Baiun City covers a large area, the city is extremely prosperous, and it has the largest trading market, and countless races go to the city every day to trade. And Baiun City is also the only city that can use the magic crystal cannon, which is also their defensive weapon. The most exaggerated thing is that there is also a super magic crystal cannon in the city. One magic crystal is only enough for the super magic crystal cannon to hit twice, but the power is also large enough. So far Baiun City. After listening to Jeff's description of Baiun City, Gongsunli's 2 ears on his head twitched. Trade Center. Gongsunli said lightly, but what she was thinking in her heart was that Baiun City didn't know if there was a demon seed. Since Baiun City is a city with a huge flow of people, there must be traces of demon seeds there. It seems that whether it's for the magic crystal or the demon seed, I'm going to have to go over. Gongsunli's heart gradually had a plan for the next step. But the most important thing at the moment is to get your rear right. All right, it's almost time, it should be almost dawn on the ground now. Pack up and get ready to move. Gongsunli stuffed the map on the table into the ring, as well as the 5-element mirror, which she had already put away. It's hard to say if you need to get this thing, but it's a rarity. It's just that Jeff looked a little embarrassed when he heard Gongsunli's words, and it seemed that there were other things. That city lord, are we really going to move to Thousand Cave City? What? You don't want to? Gongsunli frowned, and Jeff couldn't help but shudder. No, mainly because, this barren hill already had a lord yesterday, and I'm afraid of. Oh. Gongsunli smiled, she almost forgot that she was here to find the 3 guys from the Blue Stars this time. Rest assured, the lord of this barren hill can't become the climate. Hey, yes. Jeff broke out in a cold sweat in an instant. He couldn't afford to provoke either of these 2 forces. He didn't know who the lord of the barren hill was, but in his impression, anyone who could become the lord of power didn't want to be with him. Now seeing Gongsunli's expression, How can he not know that this is a disagreement between the two power masters? This level of contradiction is not something he can meddle in. City Lord, there are. What about that gens? Guns, according to your own way, and ask me about such a trivial matter. Gongsunli played with the 5-element mirror and said casually. Okay, Lord Castle, you can rest first, and I'll go and inform them. With that, Jeff ran out of the room. And on the Blue Star, everyone looked stupid. What do you mean? That means Gongsunli is now targeting the natives. It's the same pioneer, it's really different, we're still being chased and beaten by monkeys, this Gongsunli is ready to go to the first big city of the family. Damn, how can you Xia Kingdom take away the dwarven tribe from our fiefdom? We William like Gongsunli so much, but what do you see Gongsunli do? It's a pity that our 10 barrage opportunities have run out, and we can't notify William, otherwise we must let William kill him to see what Gongsunli is doing to him. There was a quick quarrel in the live broadcast room. And some Xiaguo audiences were stunned. Gongsunli, don't you know that William killed the GI for her? That's right, where to know, our country didn't send a barrage. Garbage. Why do those foreigners dare to covet Gongsun Li? So, Gongsun doesn't know that she's now on her back. SHHH. The scumbag Gongsun is leaving, passively carrying the blame, and the main owner still doesn't know. Looking at Gongsunli, who was stinky on the screen, the audience in Xiaguo felt a little speechless. National Games online game, transform into Gongsunli at the beginning. Author, show your secrets. Chapter 110. What are you talking about, just a licking dog? That is, even if William comes, will he dare to stop the dwarves from moving? The voices in the live broadcast room are varied, but this does not affect Gongsunli at all. Lord of the city, this. We dwarves have lived here for hundreds of years, and it really wasn't an overnight thing to relocate, there were so many things to pack. Jeff stood in front of Gongsunli with his head down, his face bitter. Just now he went out to organize the people of the tribe to clean up their things, but the dwarves have lived here for hundreds of years, and because they like to do experiments, there are really too many things. It won't be sorted out for a while and a half, and besides, the entire dwarf tribe only has one ring, and the space for this ring is far less than Gongsunli's mixed UN ring. This is undoubtedly a big problem. It's okay, just tidy up slowly. Gongsunli stood up with the flower umbrella, it just so happened that I still have something I want to know from you. City Lord, it doesn't hurt you to say it. Jeff said that he was very willing to explain the confusion of Gongsun. You lead the people to sort out the supplies first, I'll be back in the evening. Gongsun left without looking back and walked out with Yu. Hello City Lord. Is the City Lord out? Hello City Lord. As soon as she went out, the busy dwarves on the street greeted Gongsunli, who also responded with a smile and walked towards the stairs where she came. Hey, did you hear that? When we get to Thousand Cave City, we can go to live on the ground. Yes, I've heard about it, haha, I'm really yearning, I haven't been out yet. Hey, you're a good boy, you've caught up with. Listening to the discussion behind him, a smile appeared on Gongsunli's face. In this way, the dwarves do not resist relocation, and even have some yearning. As for the place to live, in the entire Thousand Cave City, there is not a single living creature, and I am afraid that I will not be able to find a suitable place to live. Yo, let's go, let's move on, go and see what the Lord of the Barren Hill is capable of. Gongsunli turned over and rode on Yo-Yo's back, and his tone was a little disdainful. The natives of this second home were frightened when they heard the Power Lord, but she knew it. The so-called Power Lord is just an ordinary person from Blue Star. Seeing the direction in which Gongsun was leaving, Sakura and Taka-chan panicked. Because they can't communicate with William and the others now. But obviously, even being able to communicate doesn't do much. William got up early in the morning and sat directly at the door of the palace, still waiting as hard as yesterday. There must have been an accident, I was late for the night. William muttered, and Yanagi's current job is still to prepare meals. The two of them even entered a short rest. Actually, if it weren't for Gongsunli's quick killing, it would be good to rest for 2 days like this to relieve your emotions. Yes, you look at Lu Xiaoheng, I didn't think it before, but now that I stopped, I found that he was even more tired, and he was nervous before, which was too torturous. The problem is that Gongsun is coming. What do you think will happen if Gongsunli kills William? Damn. William, a big lover, won't just move himself. Gongsunli is such a woman, he can't grasp it. The problem is that he doesn't even check his own territory, and Gongsunli has to go to his own territory every time. Viewers in the live broadcast room in several countries sighed. Especially the Eagle Sauce country, I don't know whether to cry or laugh. William has lost their control, but fortunately, William's strength is very strong. William, it's time to eat. Yanagi walked in with 2 pieces of freshly roasted meat, and it was already noon. After resting last night and this morning, Yanagi felt a lot more comfortable. I didn't resist William so much in my heart, but I was still a little scared. Alas! William sighed, picked up a piece of meat, and the sword in his hand was full of shadows, and the large piece of meat was quickly cut into small pieces. It's just that judging by his expression, he doesn't have much appetite to eat now. His eyes were a little dull and he looked into the distance. Suddenly, a small dot appeared in the distant sky, and William's pupils shrank suddenly, and he hurriedly got up from the ground. A beast has come to kill you. Lu Xiaoheng was also startled, and subconsciously pulled out his knife, only to find that the knife had been taken away by William. It's not the beast, it's her. William's voice reached Yanagishita's ears. Yanagi was stunned. She. Gongsunli. And then his face was full of horror. They had always been hostile, and this was the end of it. Go get all the materials here. Just when he was stunned, William said again, and Lucia was stunned, so he had to do it. This is it. On You's back, Gongsunli looked at the palace on the top of the hill, which was one size smaller than Viang Palace, and said, "No, isn't there a chance to rebuild after being occupied? Why are there still so many beast corpses here?" Gongsunli frowned. She didn't know that William didn't have the heart to do this at all. In William's opinion, this fief just can't fall into the hands of the GIs, and as for himself, he doesn't care at all. Smack. Finally, under the gaze of William and Lu Xiaoheng, Yo-Yo landed smoothly. It's still so beautiful, it hasn't changed at all. William watched Gongsunli turn over from Yo-Yo's back, and his eyes couldn't take his eyes off the slightest. And Lu Xiaoheng stood alone behind and wiggled. In his eyes, Gongsunli was a guy who killed people without blinking. Looking at the strange two, Gongsunli frowned, especially when he saw the material under William's feet. She had the impression that the materials were enough to rub a tower, but she didn't know why it was still here. Moreover, especially the way William looked at her, she was a little confused. Ha ha ha. Look, Gongsun is stunned. Ha ha. Digging grass. The first time I saw Gongsunli's expression, ha ha ha, I laughed to death. This posture can't be done without being confused. Don't you really tell Gongsunli about William's situation? What if you kill him? I actually feel that Gongsunli would be cruel if he killed William now. Am I sick? Yes, you must be sick. This is the enemy, although now our enemies are a little unqualified. Xiaoguo's words in the live broadcast room made the audience of Eagle Sauce Country feel a little humiliated, but that's the way it is. Gongsunli is undoubtedly the strongest of all the pioneers at this stage. In the end, do you want to tell Ali? The lord of the Xia kingdom is also a little overwhelmed now. It's okay for him to deal with things between countries, he really has no experience in this kind of thing. Smack. Suddenly, William stepped forward. Kill me, this territory is yours, and the reward materials are all here. William had a smile on his face, but Sun suddenly felt that the smile was a little disgusting, and she vaguely remembered that she seemed to have seen the same woman she liked before. You. Sick, right? After a while, Gongsunli looked at William with the eyes of a retarded person and said this. The live broadcast room exploded in an instant. However, she was not polite, and directly put all the things on the ground into the ring. After all, no matter how small the mosquito is, it is still meat. She came here to see the difference between the territory occupied by other pioneers and her own, and to take some of the things she needed by the way. Now that the goal is complete, she is not interested. She really doesn't look down on this barren hill, not to mention that the race of this barren hill has been taken away by her, so it is better to go back and seriously build her own 1,000-cave city. William was relieved to see her put away the materials on the ground. Yanagi stood behind William, almost breaking him. Big love, you have to say it. You see, if you don't say it, how do people know that you like her? The scene fell silent for a while. Gongsunli frowned, she couldn't figure it out. This William directly killed the soldiers, and it stands to reason that he is also brave and strategic. Why is he so stupid? And most importantly, his eyes are really uncomfortable. Yo, withdraw. Without wasting any time, she had to rush back to the dwarven tribe before dark. William looked at Gongsunli's back, his eyes full of joy. She didn't kill me. Didn't she come to take the land? Didn't kill me. Is my place in her heart more important than the land? William's heart thought a lot for a moment. Fortunately no one else knew, otherwise I am afraid that no one else would have to do it, and Lu Xiaoheng would kill him even if he was desperate. Seeing Gongsunli's figure disappear into the sky, William also began to cheer up. In his opinion, this is Gongsunli's letting her develop well. I won't let you down, I know what you mean, I will definitely build the territory well. With that, William went into the hall and began to renovate. The audience in the live broadcast room of Eagle Sauce Country finally breathed a sigh of relief and finally started to work. And Gongsunli, who was staying in the sky, was looking confused at this time. Ali, that William. That's why the GIs will die. Looking at the barrage sent to her by the lord of the Xia kingdom, Gongsunli almost fell directly from Yu's back. The originally pink little face became iron blue. Yo. An angry shout came from the sky, and Yu trembled. It was the first time he saw Gongsunli so angry. Quickly turned around and headed towards the barren hill hall. When Gongsunli came back, William had just finished renovating, and the original quaint hall had completely changed into the traditional style of the Eagle Sauce Country. At this time, William and Yanagi were in the temple, and they had not yet had time to come out to admire the appearance of the new palace. Gongsunli dodged and appeared directly at the top of the main hall. A sword dance moves in all directions. Then, I saw pink light constantly appearing in all corners of the main hall. Boom, boom, boom. Huge explosions rang out one after another. The palace that had just been renovated collapsed in an instant, and William and Lu Xiaoheng were crushed inside before they could escape. Let's go. Looking at the palace that had become a ruin, Gongsunli jumped on Yo's back again and left.